free in the continent of Africa, and went on to mention Afghanistan and Pakistan. Cooper said, and I quote, "That's amazing, and you did it all," end quote. Gates answered, "No, it's a group which includes CDC, and Rotary International has to be given great credit for the enormous efforts," end quote. So we started this program with Bill Gates, and I'll end my comments with Bill Gates, because you see, he is a tremendous supporter. Our job, simply raise the money, get the match for Bill and Melinda Gates, and they allow us to decide how to spend that money. They do not impact how we spend this money. So thank you for your generous contributions. Thanks especially go to District 3310, who's the highest giving district in zones 1B, 9, and 10. They were also, except for Japan, highest giving in Asia Pacific, except for Japan. Fantastic work by every Rotarian there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for letting me be with you this morning.
Thank you very much, past Rotary International President John, for that insight on how we are now faring into our performance for the Polio Plus Fund. And let me share more details on that, as I was given this data from Steve Lyons. May I show the first slide? From Zone 9, China, Hong Kong, Macau, Mongolia, and Taiwan, you are doing really good in your total contributions compared to last year of Rotary year 2019-2020. You're so close for 4.5 months in surpassing your record of last year. And I know for Rotary year 2020-2021, we will do much better. For the next slide, we will show Zone 1B, that's Bangladesh, Indonesia, and Pakistan, belonging to Region 10. And you will see that they have already actually surpassed the contribution of Rotary year 2019-2020. And just in 4.5 months, they've already reached $58,774,000. And the third slide, we have Zone 10A. These are the 10 districts in the Philippines belonging to Region 11. We're really so close, and a lot of districts have surpassed the record of Rotary year 2019-2020. And I believe before the end of the year, we will even do much better than last year. And our next slide, this is our last slide for Zone 10B and 10C, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Brunei, Malaysia, and Singapore. Congratulations, you've really surpassed your contributions from Rotary year 2019 and 2020. And please don't stop. My fearless forecast is by the year 2020-2021, by the end of the year, we will double our contributions versus the Rotary year 2019-2020 contributions. At this point, we'd like to hear more about the Rotary Foundation, and we will hear from this impressive woman, District Governor in Rotary year 2007-2008. She was Rotary International Vice President in Rotary year 2016-2017, Vice Chairman for End Polio Now Countdown to History Committee, Rotary International President nominee, the first woman president of Rotary International after 115 years. She'll be president in year 2022-2023. Let's hear the message from Rotary International President nominee Jennifer Jones.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to join you for this very special foundation event. Thank you for including me, and thank you to each of you for your leadership and support of the Rotary Foundation. I bring you personal greetings from our Rotary Foundation Chairman, Ravi Ravindran, and all of the trustees of the foundation, as well as President Holger and the entire RI Board of Directors. Over the next few minutes, I'd like to share with you some updates on some of our foundation's signature initiatives. This year has challenged the world in ways that no one could anticipate. COVID-19 has changed the way that we work, socialize, and even celebrate. At this difficult time, the world needs Rotary to help bring people together. The world needs Rotary to help the most vulnerable. And Rotarians, we need each other to stay connected and to take action against COVID-19. But even in the midst of ongoing public health challenges, there's still news worth celebrating. We're proud of the work you're doing to stop the spread of COVID-19 and to help your neighbors. I'm also proud of the fact that all of our hard work is being recognized. Recently, Rotary was ranked in the top 10 volunteering organizations of 2020 by LinkedIn, which tracked nonprofits with the highest average number of monthly volunteers. So it's clear, our mission has never been more important. Now, with regard to COVID, we're people of action, people who create lasting change. Equipped by the resources of the Rotary Foundation, we're able to make a difference in thousands of communities throughout the world. We've already moved more than $30 million through the Rotary Foundation in global grants and disaster response grants, right to the front line. And you have taken decisive action to fight COVID-19, whether by hosting online meetings to discuss public health best practices or saving businesses during the pandemic. You're also thinking seriously about the future, holding meetings in new ways and discussing ways to engage future members. We've embraced our ability to adapt in ways that we never even thought possible. But some things don't change, and one of them is gratitude. Each year, we celebrate the Rotary Foundation during the month of November, and here's some more good news. We know that through June 30th, our foundation has raised and invested more than $5.3 billion for programs that have lasting effects in our community. They empower Rotary members to continue promoting peace, fighting disease, providing clean water, saving mothers and children, supporting education, and growing local economies all over the world. Rotary Peace Fellowship applications increased 180% between 2015 and 2020, which shows that interest in our Rotary Peace Centers is growing rapidly. One of the impacts of the coronavirus pandemic is that it has shed a light on the relationship between environmental degradation and threats to public health. Earlier this year, the RI Board and the Board of Trustees decided to add a new area of focus: supporting the environment. It will offer Rotary members another dedicated channel to increasing our positive impact. And this exciting new area of focus will officially launch on July 1st. This past Rotary year, we set an ambitious fundraising goal of $400 million. And it's no surprise that we Rotarians rallied together and helped the foundation surpass this goal and raise over $408 million. This year, we have our eyes set on a goal of $410 million. And even against the backdrop of this global pandemic, we're well on track to achieving this goal. These funds have boosted our efforts to eradicate polio, train the world's peace builders, and support district and global grants. Thanks to generous Rotarians like you, we awarded 1,350 global grants in 2019-2020 and grants for polio eradication, which totaled $151.8 million. As many of you know, we took action for the cause of public health long before COVID appeared, and because of our experience, we're making a profound difference today. The polio eradication program is already using the advanced disease eradication infrastructure to protect the vulnerable from COVID-19, especially in polio endemic countries. This year, Africa was certified wild polio free. This is big news and not something we should take for granted. Just over a decade ago, Africa was struck by 3/4 of all wild polio cases in the world, and now more than 1 billion people who live on the African continent are safe from this terrible virus. But we have one big celebration to go. We now need to finish the job and complete Rotary's mission of a world without polio. All of us have an important role in making this vision a reality. Rotarians around the world are working tirelessly to support this global effort. It won't be easy, and we know there's going to be challenges ahead of us. COVID-19 impacted our polio eradication effort, but it hasn't stopped it. We've learned something else about our Polio Plus campaign this year, that the infrastructure that global polio partners helped build over decades is one of the most powerful public health tools on the planet, with an impact that is well beyond polio eradication. And speaking of great stories, one Rotarian in Lagos, Nigeria has been working tirelessly for decades to end polio in Africa. Dr. Tunji Funsho is a cardiologist, chair of Rotary Nigeria's Polio Plus Committee, a committed Rotarian, and now he's been named one of Time 100's most influential people of the year as recognition for his role in helping to kick polio out of Africa. Time's list is impressive and has previously included people like Oprah Winfrey, Angela Merkel, Nelson Mandela, and the Dalai Lama. The campaign in Africa succeeded because of people like Dr. Funsho, all committed to the same goal. I'm proud of what we've accomplished, but we're not done yet. The wild polio virus still exists in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The world can't be free of wild polio until we reach every last child. And that's what makes Rotary so special. Our ability to, as President Holger Kanak says, open opportunities for others and for ourselves. In closing, I'd like to thank you for your outstanding service. Please help by giving what you can to the Rotary Foundation so that we can continue to do good in the world. Each of us wants to show how Rotary opens opportunities through our Rotary service, and your role as a leader in Rotary gives you one of the best opportunities possible to do just that. Enjoy the rest of the program, and thanks again for including me.
Thank you very much, President nominee Jennifer, and hopefully she can join us later in the Q&A portion. Our next speaker is the chair for Pakistan's National Polio Plus Committee and is the member of the International Polio Plus Committee. He is the trustee of the Rotary Foundation. To talk on the polio updates in Pakistan during the pandemic, please welcome Rotary International Trustee Aziz Memon. Trustee Aziz, unmute yourself, please.
Done. Thank you. Thank you. You have heard our chair-elect, John Germ, and you have heard President nominee Jennifer. They have given you in-depth detail as to what Rotary Foundation has been doing. The pandemic which we are going through has not seen any parallel, nor we have seen during our lifetime. It has been a challenge for the whole world, and it has been a challenge for the economy also. Yesterday, on a Zoom meeting, Trustee Chair K.R. Ravindran mentioned that he saw on BBC an interview given by the pilot of Qantas A380, who after being laid off is now driving a truck on the road of Sydney. So my friends, this is just one example that from A380 he comes down to a truck. So, we have to face it. We have to see more changes. And it is possible that the world which will come out of the pandemic may not be the same as it was. Rotary Foundation is needed more today than it was ever before. We went into action as soon as COVID-19 struck by giving disaster grants, by giving COVID grants, and the number goes up and up. And we are still on our foot to rescue and help wherever the need arises. The pandemic, by which, the vaccine drive was suspended for almost 7 months, put almost 80 million children in 35 countries at risk, not just of polio, but of measles, but of rubella, and of other diseases. It was the infrastructure and the logistic of the polio in the endemic country which went into action. The government used the cold chain of polio for COVID. Our resource centers supported, our permanent transit posts supported, and I would say that the Rotarians also went out to distribute food packages, cook food, and do everything possible. Now, the worst blow was to the polio campaign. We are at a very critical stage where we are trying to keep the numbers down, and other than the wild polio cases, the polio-derived cases shot up in this time quite a bit. In Pakistan and Afghanistan, we have few of them. They are there in northern part of Pakistan and in Afghanistan, but they are very rampant in Africa. This year, polio-derived cases, the world has seen are 500 plus. My friends, in Pakistan and Afghanistan, with the help of our partners WHO and UNICEF, we were able to resume our campaign on a very small scale to halt the derived cases and to target the white polio cases also. I have a couple of slides which will tell you as to what the derived cases are and what causes the derived cases. It may be low immunity to type 2. It could be low routine immunization. So these are some of the points which you can have it with you. And I'll show you a few slides because they've given me a short time. Next, please. Now we have, after a lot of money, lot of research, this novel OPV has been rolled out. This was manufactured in Indonesia, and it is on its way to be given to those countries which have a big outbreak of polio-derived cases. And our hope is, our expectation is that the novel OPV2 will be able to halt the derived cases. As far as the wild polio cases are concerned, Pakistan and Afghanistan, Rotarians and our partners are on our toe fighting it. Next slide. Now, where will these novel vaccine go? You can see the countries listed. Africa is definitely number 1. Philippines also needs it. In Middle East, we have Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia. So this is how it would be given. The training has been given. There has been a focal person made for the novel vaccine, and we hope that we get the delivery soon. It is expensive. The quantities are not big. So we have to be very, very vigilant while using it. And we hope that we will be soon using it. Next, please. Now, this is the impact of COVID, as I mentioned to you, that what damage the COVID has done, but COVID is not yet gone. But we have put polio immunization also on the parallel track. Starting on July, we built up the campaign in August. Then in September, we did the first NID after a break of 7 months. October, NID was a successful one. We were able to reach home to home in South Waziristan and the difficult areas with the help of Pakistan Army. The Pakistan Prime Minister and the Chief of Army Staff are fully committed. And we hope that the campaign of November and December also are successful, and we are able to halt the transmission of wild polio cases. And for derived cases, we look for the novel vaccine. And in the meantime, for WHO has specially made for Pakistan and Afghanistan trivalent vaccine, which was discarded. This will be used in the November, December rounds, and this trivalent will be able to have two things. It will be able to attack the wild polio case, at the same time stop the derived case. Next, please. This is some of the points, recommendation, and we are sharing with you. Next, please. Next, please. Thank you. So, we are preparing now for the November round, which will start at the end of this month. Tomorrow, I'll be gone to Peshawar because we have got the Chief Minister Task Force meeting, and we are having our resource center staff also coming there from Bannu, from Lucky Marwat. These are the difficult areas. So we will be getting together with them, and the KPK, that is the name of the province, their coordinators and our partners will all be there. So I want to thank you for giving me the time. I will be available if there are any questions, or you can email the questions to me. And thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you very much, Trustee Aziz, for enlightening us on the scenario in Pakistan on the polio cases versus COVID-19. Much has to be done. Again, we have to continue the job to end polio now. Our next speaker was District Governor in 1999-2000. He was Vice President of Rotary International in 2007-2008. He's the chairperson for Rotary Leadership Institute and the chairman for the International Polio Plus Committee. Fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, to talk on the polio updates and challenges faced, past Rotary International Vice President Michael McGovern.
Yeah, thank you, Marianne. By the way, I would like to share my own screen, so if you could allow me to do that, that'd be wonderful. Wonderful to be with all of you this evening in your part of the world this morning and ours, and to be with the other speakers as well. What I'd like to do is to give a brief overview on where we stand internationally. Some of this, as the fourth speaker, has already been covered, so I will go over that very quickly. But it's just great to see the involvement of Rotarians, first of all. These pictures, have been over the last couple of years, but you see this group in Indonesia, another group in Singapore. I have, many pictures of activities in the Philippines and other places. So it all happens because of you. Help if I started the slideshow. Here we go. Many ask, where do we stand with cases? As you look at this slide, I think what's really significant is that all of our increase this year in cases is in Afghanistan. That's because the Taliban has banned house-to-house vaccinations in a good part of the country. It's made it very difficult. There's actually good news, Aziz and others, coming out of Pakistan. You actually have 5 fewer cases this year than you had last year at this same time. Considering the impact of COVID, that's an achievement and shows that the program in Pakistan is on the right track. Overall, we do have a few more polio cases. We expected a lot more this year when COVID hit. It has a huge impact when you have to suspend vaccinations, as we did for a while. So we're not happy that the number of cases are up slightly, but they're not anywhere near up as much as we anticipated. Aziz mentioned these vaccine-derived cases. Look at these numbers, 672 so far this year, and that's in 24 countries. It's very expensive to handle that. But as was said, we have this new vaccine coming out. It's manufactured by Biopharma in Indonesia. And on November 13th, just about 1 week ago, it received the World Health Organization's emergency use listing. What's important about that is it can now be utilized, and it's the very first vaccine ever to receive an early use listing. It's a great achievement for the polio program, but even more, it has laid the groundwork for all of the approvals that need to come for the COVID vaccines. We were sort of the test case of how an early use listing would work, and we ought to be proud that in just this way alone, we're contributing to the COVID response. The COVID response, it affects us in two ways. One, it's how it affects the polio program, and two, it's how it affects, what we can do for COVID. And these photos were a little over 100 years ago, but it just reminds me of some of the similarities between COVID and polio. These signs, could almost appear today. Here I live in the United States. We've been told yesterday that we cannot visit people on the American holiday of Thanksgiving. It's when we usually get together with families, and unless they live in your household, you're not supposed to go see them. This is the situation a lot of us are dealing with around the world, and it's almost like history repeating itself. I found also very interesting is some of you have read about these new vaccines coming out, Pfizer and Moderna and some of these other companies. Well, the data is showing that it's more than 90% effective. And yet, you look also at the headline next to there, where there's a picture of Jonas Salk, the black and white picture. And look at that headline, efficacy of 80 to 90% shown. It's almost exactly when the polio vaccine came out, almost the exact same headlines, 65 years apart. That's just amazing. And hopefully we'll have good response. Dr. Moetti is the regional director of the World Health Organization in Africa. She said no one has the footprint of the polio program, nor the expertise for mounting effective response campaigns. And that's what we have done. The Global Polio Eradication Initiative, that's Rotary, UNICEF, WHO, Gavi, and the United States CDC, has been working hard since March, and they're projected through April. Over 4,000 polio staff are working to help countries respond. $61 million in investments from the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. We help with logistics. We help with so much else. A lot of people ask, will Rotary help administer the COVID vaccine? There's been no decision on that yet, but it's probably going to be dependent on what happens locally. We're doing surveillance, Aziz mentioned the laboratories, the operations center. It's really an opportunity for us to move polio along, and we need to look at that. So, we ought to be proud of the work that we're doing on COVID, and look at it not as a hindrance, but something helping. John Jerem mentioned, all of the support that we're given financially. It's also Rotary that advocates to the governments, crucially important. Our goal is the global certification for polio eradication. We've done it everywhere, but in the Eastern Mediterranean region, because of the two countries where we still have polio endemic. It's just tremendous the work Rotarians have done and continue to do to advocate to their countries. It was mentioned as 19 million people. Sometimes I get frustrated. It's not done. And you'd like to have this done, but I'm given some consolation. 19 million people are now walking on this earth because the Rotarians in your part of the world decided that Rotary ought to provide leadership in terms of ending polio. The logistics of this, the number of doses, just absolutely amazing. And it's I look at these are the last child in the different regions who have come down with polio. Most of them are doing pretty well, but I look at that little girl from Nigeria who got the last case there in 2016. I can't wait to see the picture of this last child in the world who comes down with the wild polio virus. We're close. We're getting closer, and it's because of your support and your generosity. And this is what your generosity enabled Rotary to do just this past quarter. The trustees at the time, John, Jennifer, Aziz, and the others, led by Chair Ravi, approved these grants. So, we're still doing surveillance in Africa. We want to make sure that Africa stays polio free. Most of our monies, though, are being spent in Afghanistan and Pakistan. We're providing stipends to workers. We're doing all these things to make sure polio is eliminated. We're investing in vaccines. That's what it said to stockpile, and we're doing research. These are your contributions, how they use. This is just one of 3 times this year that we'll be giving money. There'll be 2 more of 50 million and 50 million, 150 million in total. But it all begins in your individual clubs, and that's where it happens. So we need to advocate as President Holger is doing here with Imran Khan in Pakistan. Most of all, though, we need to convince parents that the polio drops belong in the mouths of the children. The Philippines showed how that was done in 1979. Country after country has eliminated polio. We now need to have that final push to convince parents and leaders. That's what we need to focus on. That's what the funds are needed for. That's why the Gates match is so important. And it's also important that we do away with these vaccine-derived cases by increasing rates of routine immunization as well. That's the plus in Polio Plus. So we will eradicate polio. We are eradicating polio. And I'm confident that with the leadership that we have in each and every club, and with your continued supports, we'll do so. So thank you, Mian. It's so wonderful to be with you and with everyone today.
Thank you, Mike. I hope we didn't wake you up so early.
Oh, it's okay.
It's 6:30. It was 6:30, right, in the morning?
It's 7-Eleven now.
Oh, 7-Eleven. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Our next speaker to proceed is the Assistant Rotary Coordinator for Region 12 for Rotary years 2018-2021. And she is the 2019-2021 Polio Plus Chair for District 3310, the District Governor nominee for District 3310, to talk on the best practices during COVID pandemic from Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. Fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for District Governor nominee Joanne Kam. Joanne, are you okay? Would you need assistance?
I'm fine. I just shared the screen.
All right, okay.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see everyone here. And today I'm going to talk about Today I'll be sharing on the best practices of Singapore, Brunei, and part of Malaysia, which is and many people think that polio is very distant from us.
Joanne, we can share your screen. Would you like us to share your slides?
Better.
Okay, all right. Christopher, could you please share the slides of Governor Joanne, please? Okay, Joanne, the slides are now ready on cue.
Okay, you can skip 2 slides ahead, please. Thank you. Many people have thought that polio is something very far away, very distant, nothing to do with Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, which is our District 3310. And many people have asked, why do we even need to bother to raise funds for Polio Plus? Nothing to do with us. However, things started to happen last year. In Sabah, 4 cases have emerged. And it's so near to us, right within our district in Sabah, East Malaysia. 4 cases were confirmed, and the symptoms were paralysis, needs respiratory aid, needs walking aid, legs are weak, something that's very typical of the effects of polio. Next, please. And this is one of the slide screenshot that I took when we had a meeting with UNICEF and WHO in March in Putrajaya in Malaysia. And it shows the polio outbreak situation in Sabah. So it is real, it is near us, and this is after 28 years where it has not hit us and has come back 28 years later. Next, please. So this was a screenshot and photos of our meeting together with our district 3300 and representatives from our district 3310 with WHO and UNICEF. So the Ministry of Health of Malaysia has received 2.5 million doses of monovalent oral polio vaccine type 2, in short MOPV2, from WHO. And this is being managed by UNICEF, and it's been delivered to the Sabah State of Health. This is going to be pushed out to over 1 million children below 13 years old to control the spread of polio, just like how the spread of coronavirus is happening right now. So COVID-19 has spread. It has, in fact, started to get worse after it's gone better. Now, same thing for polio. It has actually gone zero, but it has now re-emerged very near to us in Sabah, in Philippines, and many cities around us. So do not think that this is nothing to do with us. It is so real, so near. And a Polio Action Committee Sabah was formed, headed by PDG Dato' Zaini in our district. Our Rotarians work closely with the Sabah Department of Health to help with the immunization work. And a Polio Plus grant has been granted, approved, 29,853.54, which is equivalent to 120 million ringgit to help in this outreach. So although the doses are free, we need a lot of resources, manpower, logistics, transportation, and so forth to reach out to these children out there. And these vaccines will provide immunization to children and to stop the spread of these polio virus to other children. And because of this year, because of COVID, we usually will raise funds through walks, through biking, but because of COVID, we have to do something different. We came up with a program, Step Up to End Polio. Next. And we do it in an interesting way. This year, we launched it not just on World Polio Day, just one day, but we had done it over an 8 weeks period. There's a steps challenge, 250,000 or 500,000 steps, weight loss challenge of 3 kg, 6 kg, or 8 kg, and making just donations or pledges. And each participant is to contribute $35 US. So something that's very affordable to many people out there. And we also encourage Rotarians, Rotarian families, Rotractors, alumni, friends, at least they are at least 18 years old. They are welcome to participate. So we announced this to our clubs on 3rd of August. And 3 weeks later, on 29th of August, we did the flag off virtual event, so that because it's region-wide, our district is unique. There are 3 countries involved. And we start the 8-week steps and weight loss challenge. And on 24th October is World Polio Day. We organized walks, dinners, events, and the Step Up to End Polio Virtual Summit. And our DG Raja Mohan Munisami has also done a one-to-one donation match for all individual donations to Polio Fund of at least $1,000 by 31st October 2020. And let me announce to you the results of this campaign. As at 19th November, we have now achieved $77,502 US. This is the #1 highest giving in zones 1B, 9, and 10. Number 1, highest giving district in Asia Pacific, excluding Japan. Number 3, highest giving district in Asia Pacific, including Japan. And number 10, highest giving district Rotary worldwide. And thank you very much for all our Rotarians in District 2310. And as a report card, 49 clubs have donated this year to date. There's a typo here because another club just came on that has donated at least 1,500, and there's a total of 16 clubs have donated at least $1,500 this year. Last year was 4 clubs, and we have an increase of 12 clubs, which is 300%. And I'm also pleased to announce that there's 1 new Paul Harris Society member with Rotary Direct of $1,000 annually to Polio Fund. And that's what our trustee chair-elect has called it, the Polio Plus Society. And these are the list of the clubs. And this is the flag off on 29th August, where we have dignitaries like a trustee chair-elect John Germ. We have PRIVP Michael McGovern, our RI Director Surgeon, Trustee Aziz Memon with us, and also past RI Director Robert Hall, and together with the rest. So this was the flag off on 29th August, virtually via Zoom, because we have the debt, right? Everything is now Zoom. Next. And this was the flag off. A few of us gathered physically in Singapore, and we did a physical flag off through the Zoom event. And on 24th October, World Polio Day, we ended the challenge on 23rd October. And 24th October, we celebrated World Polio Day. 1 day, 1 focus, ending polio. And we organized the walks in the morning, World Polio Day dinner, as well as the summit. In Singapore, we could only gather 5 to a group, so we have to adhere to certain limits. Same thing for limits in Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei as well. So these are some of the pictures of our Rotarians in Singapore for the 24th October World Polio Day walk. In Johor, West Malaysia, which made it to the media as well. And there are also walks conducted in Taiwan, Sabah, East Malaysia, also made it to the media. In Kuching, Sarawak, East Malaysia, and our Rotarians in Brunei. And there are also fellowships and dinners in the various regions. And on the 24th October evening, we have the World Polio Day Summit. And we have also dignitaries with us. And Trustee Chair-elect John Jerome, RIPN, Jennifer Jones, RID Surgeon, and past RI Director Robert Hall. And also we have ARRFC as well with us. And we also managed to secure the sharing of all of our STEPS Challenge participants from Taiwan, a polio survivor, Mr. Low. So nothing beats hearing from a real life in-person polio survivor right in our region. And in this campaign, we have participation as of 24th October, 50 Rotary clubs, 7 Rotaract clubs, 3 countries, 600 Rotarians, Rotaractors, family members, and friends. And these are the results of our various challenge, and congratulations. And in fact, we didn't expect our Rotarians to really go all the way out for this, gathering pledges and also doing the steps and doing their weight loss. Our top winner, in fact, is past President Frankie Ong from Rotary Club Kuching Central, clocking 2.6 million steps when he was just required to do 250,000. And 500,000 steps winner was IPP Leonard Sia, clocking 1.856 million steps. So, and weight loss challenge, we have fantastic results, and including our own district governor, Raja Mohan, also personally took part in this as well. Next. So these are the screenshots of our Zoom event during the Step Up to End Polio Summit. Next one. And we also have our Rotaractors from various countries, Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Japan, Macau, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Taiwan gathered together for an inter-district End Polio webinar on 31st October, Saturday. And they have also invited representatives from WHO to talk about updates from the various regions. And we also have the screenshots of the Rotary Inter-District End Polio webinar. So every child deserves the right to walk, run, and play without fear of paralysis. Let us all protect our children from polio. And I urge everyone to just do a little bit. Every little bit counts, whether it's $25, $100, $1,000, $10,000, every amount counts. And every US $1 that Rotary commits to WHO and UNICEF for polio immunization will be tripled by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So end polio now, make history today. We are this close to ending polio. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Governor Joanne. With that post, definitely we will end polio now. Our next speaker will also share the best practices. She was Assistant Regional Public Image Coordinator in Zone 7A for 2018-2019, and she's currently the District Governor for District 3830. I call her Gigi. That's a new position that we have created. Ganda Governor, very pretty governor, Governor Chacha Camacho, to talk about the best practices in the Philippines. Take it away, Gov Chacha.
Thank you, PDG. Good morning to our friends across the Pacific. Is my slide on? My deck? Yeah. Past RI President John Germ, our President nominee Jennifer, past RI Vice President Mike, my friend Trustee Aziz, and to my fellow Rotarians here in Asia, good evening. The Persian poet Rumi reminds us, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. The eradication of polio has been one of Rotary's longest standing and most significant efforts. Along with our many partners, we have helped immunize almost 3 billion children against polio in 122 countries. We have reduced polio cases by 99.9% worldwide, and we will not stop until we make history by making polio history. Tonight, I will be sharing with you some best practices of the End Polio Now campaign in the Philippines, especially now during the pandemic. But before I share with you how we can make polio history, please allow me to share with you a little bit of the End Polio Now campaign's history. Not many people may be aware that our global flagship project began right here in the Philippine archipelago. More than 40 years ago, in 1978, Rotary decided that it must start conducting larger scale humanitarian projects. To achieve this, project proposals were solicited from clubs and districts from around the world through a TRF committee, the 3H grant, Hunger, Health, and Humanity. An ambitious project proposal was submitted by past RI Director Dr. Benny Santos with past RI President Matt Caparas. The objective, to immunize 6 million Filipino children against polio. The Philippine proposal was selected and became the Foundation's first 3H grant project amounting to $760,000 US. It was a huge success. In September 1979, then RI President James Bomar came to the Philippines to sign a memorandum of agreement with the Philippine Ministry of Health, arranged and organized by then District Governor Rafael Echanova, who later became an RI director. On your screens is the iconic and historic photo of Mr. Bomar giving the first symbolic polio drop to a Filipino child in Guadalupe Viejo, Makati City, in the nation's capital. The rest, as they say, is history. My friends, it is with great pride that I share with you that this history-making moment, the genesis of Rotary's End Polio Now project, took place in the district where I am now serving as governor, my beloved District 3830. From 2 drops, we changed the course of humanity. We are now standing at that crucial crossroads of whether to make history happen during our tenures as Rotarians, or to allow the seemingly insurmountable obstacles deter us from completely eradicating the 0.1% of polio cases worldwide. It will be challenging, especially with the global pandemic happening, but it will undoubtedly be rewarding. From 2 drops, we were called to fight this good fight. As Rotarians, we have 3 main responsibilities in this global effort: fundraising, advocacy, and volunteerism. I believe these 3 are quite self-explanatory. Instead, please allow me to share with you some of the best practices we are doing in our shores. Rotary clubs in the Philippines use creative and innovative ideas to support the End Polio Now campaign. In terms of fundraising, we created, curated, and sold Polio Plus merchandise. We held virtual charity concerts and events and partnered with the largest telecom company in the Philippines, Globe Telecom, to use Globe Rewards points to donate to the Polio Plus Fund. We encourage Polio Plus Fund contributions in both the club and district levels by tying these donations with club recognitions and awards. All these efforts raised a total of $263,664 US. Promoting the End Polio Now campaign required a lot of ingenuity, especially here in the Philippines, where there are multitudes of advocacies elbowing each other for the same space. Fortunately, we were able to get prime advertising real estate for the campaign, ensuring that it has reached millions of Filipinos. Our centerpiece is having the End Polio Now logo and colors illuminate the massive globe installation at the center of SM Mall of Asia, one of the largest shopping malls in the world, and with a daily foot traffic of a whopping 500,000 people. And to make sure that we promote the campaign nationwide, this was supplemented by the projection of the End Polio Now ads onto LED billboards in key cities. All these efforts allowed us to reach over 1 million people across the country. Filipinos love celebrities. Rotary has partnered with key celebrities who became the ambassadors of our This Close to Ending Polio campaign. Aside from the most popular actors and actresses in Philippine show business, we were able to tap Manny Pacquiao as one of our ambassadors. He, of course, wanted to punch away polio. We are this close to a knockout. Large-scale promotions were supported by pocket efforts. We have launched Zumba sessions, bikeathons, and fun runs, all to raise awareness about our fight against polio. When we were asked to isolate and stay home, that didn't deter us from continuing with the cause. Rotary, clubs, and districts in the Philippines conducted the World Polio Day Summit, webinars, and town hall meetings where we tackled the issue of polio eradication during the pandemic. From 2 drops, we created waves of awareness. Finally, as all of you may already know, giving our time and talents is just as important as giving our treasures. And with the Philippine Ministry of Health resuming immunizations last August, Rotarians volunteered in the local centers to conduct polio immunization activities. This has proven that sweat equity's rewards tend to be the sweetest. From 2 drops, we changed communities. If I were to synthesize why our efforts here in the Philippines are successful vis-a-vis fulfilling our responsibilities in the global fight against polio, it can all be summed up in one word: unity. We are happy to share with you that despite the lockdowns due to the pandemic, all 10 district governors in the Philippines were united in our actions. We decided that now is not the time to lose heart, even when circumstances prove to test us. Under the banner campaign, One Day, One Focus, Ending Polio, we engaged our club members and encouraged them to get involved. We encourage open communication lines from our regional leaders, from the district governors, to the DRFCs, to our very energized district polio coordinators, down to the Polio Plus club chairs. We did this by using any and every platform available and by upskilling and learning new technologies to adapt to the imposed restrictions. Our zone leadership, led by RRFC June Farcon, and our End Polio Now coordinator, Mean Solomon, closely monitored all the activities and the results. Rotarians here in the Philippines are united in our resolve that from 2 drops that began right here in our shores, right here in the district where I serve, we can change the course of humanity and make history by making polio history. The Persian poet Rumi reminds us, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." Despite the uncertain and unprecedented times we are in, even when the world asks us to physically distance from each other, we Rotarians will always find ways to finish our mission, to open opportunities, and to lead with our Rotarian hearts. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. Good evening. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, Gov Chacha. I will remember that. We are not a drop in the ocean. We are the ocean. But it takes 2 drops to end polio now. Is that correct? Okay. Thank you very much. Now, at this point, we will open the floor. We will open the chat room for Q&A. And I already saw 2 Rotarians who posted their question. I'd like to call District Polio Coordinator of District 3860, Ricky Andres. Ricky, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Ricky Andres, are you here?
Yes, Gov.
Okay.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm District Polio Coordinator Ricky. We Rotarians are hearing good news and that we are really that close to ending polio in the world. So after Nigeria, we still have 2 countries left, Pakistan and Afghanistan, having polio cases. So we need to continue our effort and intensify our End Polio fundraising and awareness campaign in order to end polio. And I believe we will end polio now soon. And now my question is, does the Rotary International already have a plan for the next Rotary banner project after we end polio in the world?
Thank you for that question, Ricky. May I request our past Rotary International President, John Germ, to answer the question? Unmute, John, please. Okay, there you go. Thank you, John.
There are several things that the foundation is looking at, but none is as important as the eradication of polio. It is still our #1 priority program. And I do not believe that Rotary or the Rotary Foundation or the Council of Legislation, the board or the trustees will name another project until after we have eradicated polio.
Okay, thank you, Past Rotary International John Germ.
Thank you, John, and thank you for your question, Ricky. Another question is from District Governor-elect Edwin To of District 3850. Governor Edwin. Unmute yourself, please. Gov Edwin To of District 3850. You have a question here related to public image.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, PDG Mayan. So, good evening, fellow Rotarians. Thank you to all our distinguished speakers for highlighting the efforts of Rotary in the fight to end polio. I notice we Rotarians are very much aware of the impact of our efforts, and we have done what we have done to end wild polio in the Philippines, Africa, and the last two countries. If we read about the end polio efforts in Africa this year, the efforts of Rotarians were mentioned in passing only, and in some articles, not at all. Like the interview mentioned about Anderson Cooper and Bill Gates has to correct them that Rotary International is involved. So my question is, what initiatives are in place in Rotary International Polio Plus, or what can we do as Rotarians now, so that when the threat of polio is finally over, our efforts in ending polio as Rotarians will enjoy equal public image recognition than simply a statement, it started in the Philippines back in 1979.
Thank you very much, Gov Edwin. Apparently, we would like to get credit for all that we are doing for the Polio Plus program. May I request past Rotary International Vice President Mike McGovern to answer this question, please?
Happy to, Mian. It's we get this question a lot, and thank you, DGE Edwin, for mentioning Bill Gates' comment on the cable news network this week. It also, it's the Jennifer Jones mentioned, Time Magazine naming a Rotarian as one of the 100 most influential people. Those recognitions come about because Rotary reaches out to individuals like the reporter at Time Magazine who recommended that. I also note Joanne Cam's presentation of quite a bit of publicity that came out of the awareness activities that happened in Malaysia. So much of the public image work actually happens at the local level. Most of it does. It's I don't know if you can see this, but sorry for the background. I see it's breaking up. I spoke to a club in Wisconsin, the United States, and it ended up in the newspaper. That's because a local Rotarian decided to call a reporter and to get it in the newspaper. That's how it works. Actually, if you look at the statistics, people think Rotary doesn't get a lot of credit publicity, but the trustees, the board of directors of Rotary do get some background information. It actually shows, other than Bill Gates, who is a press magnet, they love to talk about Bill Gates. We get more publicity than anyone. We're not going to be in every story. And interestingly, my analysis of it, the stories we tend to be left out of are the ones where some issue or problem has come up. And it's WHO and UNICEF that have to explain why this thing happened or that thing happened. So, it's Rotary more than covers the field. But in the end, it is important that the recognition be there. Rotarians ought to be proud. But it really, all of us need to work together to enhance Rotary's image as part of in emphasizing the work we're doing with polio.
Does that answer your question, Gov Edwin? Thank you very much, Mike. Actually, we've heard that from day one, especially during World Polio Day and this simultaneous polio immunization, where Rotarians go to the health centers to assist. And they question our presence because why are Rotarians in those centers helping in the polio immunization? So we just have to send out the message. And in the Philippines, Zone 10A, I just like to congratulate the transforming district governors, the district polio coordinators, the DRFCs, the TRF team. Philippines turned red for polio. So we're in that direction. We've intensified our campaign, our awareness for the Polio Plus program. So thank you very much, Gov Edwin and Mike. Thank you very much, Mike. Are there any more questions? We've muted everyone. So if there are any questions, please raise your hand. But there have been so many takeaways in the presentation from the opening message of past Rotary International President John Germ, from RI President nominee Jennifer Jones' message on the foundation and polio. And we have the updates on polio in Pakistan, updates around the world by past Rotary International Vice President Mike McGovern. So we're very happy that in Pakistan, much is being done. They're very aggressive now. And hopefully, we do get to see the second country to be polio-free in the next year. And for the best practices we learned from all of them, Governor Joanne, wonderful presentation, and congratulations for being the top district, 3310, in polio giving. For the Philippines, Zone 10A, wonderful awareness campaign, and also I'd like to give credit for your fundraising as well. And having seen no other questions, again, we're under time limit. As per my boss, RRFS team leader, Jason, we'd like now to proceed to the review and reflection by past district governor of District 3870, and she's charter president of the Rotary Club of Metro Valencia of District 3870, and currently the district trainer of District 3870. My classmate, past district governor all-star team, Jing de la Calzada. Classmate Jing?
Yes, thank you for the introduction, classmate Mayan. I want to share my screen, but I think I'll just ask.
Okay. Christopher, can you please assist Christopher? So this is the backup plan. This is what we have.
Yes.
We have one backup. This is wonderful. Go ahead, classmate.
Okay. So we have come towards the end of this session. And here is a brief recap of our program and some key take-home messages. To start with, my classmate, past district governor, Mary Ann Solomon, warmly welcomed us and introduced the speakers and participants for this session. She has also been our very gracious and engaging moderator. Past RI President John Germ delivered the opening address. He shared lessons learned from 2019 to 2020, in which 30% of districts, 46% of clubs, and 90% of Rotarians gave nothing to Polio Plus, and increasing by 10%, clubs giving 1,500, districts giving DDF, and districts giving 20% DDF to Polio Plus, along with other strategies. The 50 million Polio Plus goal can be reached this year. RI President nominee Jennifer Jones gave us some updates on the Rotary Foundation. With regard to polio, she shared the good news that this year, Africa was declared wild polio-free, and billions of African people are now safe from this dreadful and debilitating disease. The 2019-2020 Rotary Foundation goal of 400 million was surpassed at 408 million, and 151.8% of this fund was used for polio eradication. Next, RI Trustee Aziz Memon discussed some polio updates during the pandemic. And he announced that production has started for a new polio vaccine, the novel OPV2, as an alternative for polio outbreak response, and ultimately as a replacement for the vaccine that we are using now. Data shows that by observing proper precautionary measures, conducting polio immunization activities will not substantively increase COVID risk, and the SIAs will significantly decrease polio transmission and risk. Next, Past RI Vice President Michael McGovern presented some polio updates and the challenges being faced during this time of the pandemic. He showed that vaccine-derived polio strain causes rising outbreaks, and the new vaccine can address this problem. The challenge is that COVID-19 is threatening to overwhelm health systems in unprecedented ways. But polio's pandemic response is well expressed by Dr. Matshidiso Moiti when she said that with COVID-19 threatening to overwhelm health systems, the extensive polio response network is once again lending crucial support as countries build up systems to contain COVID-19. District Governor Joan Kam of District 3310 shared with us their best practices during the pandemic from Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. Their program, Step Up to End Polio, is a district-wide central theme for a series of activities on polio awareness, fundraising, and virtual information drive and updates on polio in District 3310. And it has raised more than $77,000 for Polio Plus, making District 3310 one of the highest giving districts in the zone, region, and the whole Rotary world. In the Philippines, the slide, District Governor Chacha Camacho shared their best practices under the banner banner campaign, One Day, One Focus, Ending Polio. Rotary clubs in the district got involved to implement united effort to implement ingenious and creative ways to support the End Polio Now campaign in District 3830, either in person or virtually. And indeed, I agree with District Governor Chacha Camacho when she said that just 2 drops can change the course of humanity and make history by making polio history. Rotarians all over the world have found innovative ways to adapt to the new normal that COVID-19 pandemic has imposed on us in order to finish the work that we have started. We are now closer than ever to end polio. So let me quote again RI President nominee Jennifer Jones, who said, COVID-19 impacted our polio eradication effort, but it hasn't stopped it. The world cannot be free of wild polio until we reach the very last child. So with that, I thank you for staying till the end. Good evening.
Thank you very much, classmate. Wow, in less than 5 minutes, you recapped everything. Congratulations, very good memory. Very good memory. Congratulations. All-star team district governor. At this point, we still have enough time. Allow me to share the impressions of our partners with regards to our partnership in the Polio Plus program. Show the slide, please. From the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation, during the Rotary Joint District Conference in May 2019, Bill Gates said, "The world has known how to fight polio for more than half a century, but for a long time, the world did not have the resources or the will to get the vaccine to every single child who needed it. That only changed in the mid-80s when Rotary International began to fight polio, and especially in 1988, when this organization, along with others like the WHO, UNICEF, and the CDC, helped found the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. In the years since, Rotarians have proven themselves heroes in public health. Not only has this organization raised more than $2 billion to fight the disease, you have fought it yourselves, sometimes on the front lines, and we're going to get to the end of this, and Rotary will be the reason that this will happen. Our next partner, this will be from UNICEF. From the words of the Executive Director, Henrietta Fore, she said, Until your organization began this polio eradication initiative, polio paralyzed or killed more than 350,000 people every year. The challenge was steep, but when Rotary announced that polio was going to be a top organizational priority in 1985, it went all in. Since then, thanks to your leadership on this issue, together, we've managed to reduce polio cases by 99.9%. As generations of Rotarians have proven through its decades of work in America and around the world, investing in children and young people works. Thank you all for the inspiring work you do, for your commitment to children, for your service to children, and for all the work we will do together in the years to come. Another partner, and this is from World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General, during the World Polio Day in 2019, he says, "The World Polio Day, I have two messages. The first is a simple and wholeheartedly thank you. Everything you have done has brought us to the brink of a polio-free world. Second, I ask you to redouble your efforts for this last push. We cannot succeed without you." And the last partner, we have CDC from Dr. Robert Redfield, the director, during the Reaching the Last Mile Forum. He says, in 1985, Rotary International committed to see every child in the world vaccinated against polio and to ushering in a polio-free era. Rotary International saw the possible and led the world on a quest to eradicate polio. They believed they could make meaningful impact on the human condition. For them, this was not an aspirational goal. This was a mindset, a trusted belief that this will get done. So you see, fellow Rotarians, together we will end polio. And my last slide in closing is a statement from Bill Gates when he says, "So long as we never give up, then polio does not stand a chance." To formally close this breakout session on polio, we'd like to call the Singapore Virtual Rotary Institute Chair, past District Governor Chu Gim Bok.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Good morning, past RI President John Germs, Rotary International President-elect Jennifer Zone, past RI Vice President Michael McGovern, and to the rest of us in Asia, good evening. As you have heard from our speakers, Rotary has done a tremendous job in initiating the polio eradication project. So besides contributing more than 2.1 billion towards this project, and as the founding partners of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which in short GPEI, Rotary has brought in more partners in the fight to eradicate polio. So after more than 35 years, our goal of ridding the world of this disease is closer than ever. So even though we have reduced polio by 99.9%, the job is not done until the last child is vaccinated. It is predicted that if we stop the effort today, up to 200,000 children could be infected in 10 years' time. So as a Rotarian, I can think of no cause more worthy than the Polio Plus project. So we should be proud of what we have achieved and the power of partnership. Yes, we can make history. So it has been a fruitful evening listening to our passionate and inspiring Rotarians on the subjects of eradicating polio. So it leaves me now to thank the following people. So extraordinary times call for extraordinary and creative action. So I'm not able to present the certificate to our participant guest speakers, but I'm going to present to you virtually. So first of all, we have resource speaker, past RI President John Germ, RI President nominee Jennifer Jones, Hazel, you are not in secret or something like that. So, okay. Now I'll just go on to read the people says thanks. So, past RI Vice President Michael McGovern, thank you so much for joining us so early in the morning. And of course, Trustee Aziz Memon, thank you, sir. Next, I would like to also thank our moderator, Past District Governor May Ann Solomon, who is also the Zone 10A and Polio Now coordinator. Speakers, Past District Jinx Dela Calzada of District 3870, Philippines. District Governor Chacha Camacho of District 3830, Philippines. District Governor nominee Joanne Kam of District 3310, Singapore. So, Rotary Foundation Philanthropy Advisor Hazel Xiao, who is also doubled up as our technical support for tonight's event. So how can I forget our RRFC Jason Lim? Jason Lim, thank you very much. So last but not least, thank you to all tonight's participants. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday evening. I know you had a choice, but you choose to join us. There are close to 200 of you. So may I now invite Institute Convener Director Surgeon Liu to say a few words. Director Surgeon, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, please.
Good evening, Honorable Rotary International leaders, my fellow Rotarians. Good night, good evening. We had a fantastic Regional Rotary Foundation today. We discussed how Rotary International can sustain its End Polio Now campaign in the ongoing worldwide COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. My reminder is the polio eradication program pitching in to protect the vulnerable from COVID-19. The second, we are fully committed to supporting national health system by engaging our expertise and assets to help mitigate and contain the COVID-19 pandemic, alongside the continuing concerted effort to eradicate. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much to Past District Governor Kim Bok and our Rotary International Director Surgeon. And with that, we'd like to ask everyone to please open your screen as we will have our group picture. So please be part of this historical, I'm saying historical because this is the first virtual Rotary Regional Foundation Seminar. And we're looking forward to a face-to-face in the next Rotary Regional Foundation Seminar next year. So do we all have the screens open? Are we ready now for our photo shoot? So on the count of three, Tope, are we ready for the pictorial?
Who is taking the photo, man?
Christopher.
Christopher, very good. So everybody
Okay.
smile.
Everybody smile. So you can relax, classmate Jason.
Each one, 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. One, two, three, smile. This one. 1, 2.
Oops, Christopher was also muted.
Okay, thank you. Done.
Thumbs up. All right, that's good. At this point, I'd like to show my last screen, please. So on behalf of my classmate, our Regional Rotary Foundation Seminar Chairman, and the Rotary International Director, Surgeon Liu Chi-Tian, we'd like to thank everyone for attending the first virtual Regional Rotary Foundation Seminar, the Polio Breakout session, and our gratitude to our esteemed guest speakers all the way across the Pacific. I know it it's early in the morning for past Rotary International President John Germ, past Rotary International Vice President Mike McGovern, and Rotary International President nominee Jennifer Jones. And to others in Southeast Asia Pacific, the night is still young. So let's enjoy what remains of Saturday, and tomorrow is Sunday. So together, I know we will end polio. Let us all fulfill the promise to the children in the world that we will keep the world polio-free. Good night, good evening to all. Maraming salamat. Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Well done,
Bye.
classmates.
Everybody.
Well done.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Panelists.
Bye.
Richard.
Thank
Guys.
you.
Thank Hello, Ada.
Good to see everybody.
Well
Well done.
done. Well done.
Hi,
Thank you,
PDG.
Lisa.
Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Bye.
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 Bye,
Bye.
Jason.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Jason, we made good time. Thank you. Thank you. We are live streamed, so you can watch the replay.